Hello, I'm Gary Harrington. I work at OATS Central Office in the Office of Roadway Engineering. In this video, I'll describe the revisions made to the January 2025 OATS, or Ohio Analysis and Traffic Simulation Manual. Before I start discussing recent revisions to the OATS manual, I want to show changes made to our website. Information has been consolidated to a single page. Here is the ODOT Analysis and Traffic Simulation Manual website. On it you can find our manual, you can download the manual, you can find a history of OATS manual revisions. You can also find scoping guidance and related forms, transmodeler database files, and then on the right side, this is another link to the OATS manual. Here is our contact information. And then lastly, we have training videos and transmodeler fee estimation spreadsheets. Let me go back to the OATS manual revisions. Section 1.15, Study Periods and Analysis Years. This section describes the study periods and analysis years of the study. The design year is typically 20 years after opening year. However, there are instances when an interim year may be included. Prior versions of the OATS manual included several instances. The January 2025 revision to the OATS manual added the red text for cases where the no-build condition operates at a level of service F and the build condition operates at a better level of service F. For this situation, analyzing the opening year no-build condition could operate at a level of service F, whereas the build condition operates at a level of service E or better. Section 4.6, Free Flow Speed. Text was added describing how to determine the ramp free flow speed for merge, diverge, and weave segments. For diamond-style on-ramps and off-ramps, the ramp free flow speed equals the freeway free flow speed minus 15 miles per hour. For ramps with curves, like a loop ramp, the free flow speed is equal to the speed of the tightest curve plus 5 miles per hour. If present, the free flow speed of a loop ramp can be determined by adding 5 miles per hour to the advisory speed limit sign. Example 4.6a was created and placed in Appendix D. Example 4.6a, free flow speed mainline analyses, is included in Appendix D. This example shows how to determine the free flow speed for the mainline and ramps at the I-270 and Cemetery Road interchange in Hilliard, Ohio. This interchange has 4 diamond-style ramps and 2 loop ramps. The freeway free flow speed is determined by adding 5 miles per hour to the posted speed limit. The free flow speed of I-270 is 65 miles per hour plus 5 miles per hour, which equals 70 miles per hour. Ramps A, C, D, and F are diamond-style ramps. Therefore, the ramp free flow speed is 70 miles per hour minus 15 miles per hour, which equals 55 miles per hour. Ramp B is a loop ramp. Per Google Street View, the advisory speed is 30 miles per hour. Adding 5 miles per hour to the advisory speed yields a ramp free flow speed of 35 miles per hour. Ramp E is a loop ramp. Per Google Street View, the advisory speed is 25 miles per hour. Adding 5 miles per hour to the advisory speed yields a ramp free flow speed of 30 miles per hour. Section 5.4, Right Turn Treatments. Where multi-lane right turns are analyzed, it should be assumed that 80% of the right turns will be made in the right turn lane closest to the curb due to the ability to turn right on red, unless field data is available. When dual right or triple right turns are used, no right turn on red should be considered for the signal operations to improve lane utilization. Here is an example of dual right turn lanes where the lane closest to the curb is allowed to turn right on red. Here's an example of triple right turn lanes where the right turn on red is prohibited. Section 5.7, Signal Timing. Text was added requiring the approach of an interchange off-ramp intersection to be given a minimum of 20 seconds of green time. Section 6.2.1.1, Freeway. Examples providing additional information for HCS facilities analyses including merge, diverge, weaving, overlap, and basic segments were created and added to Appendix F. I'll review those segments in a minute. Note, the examples listed have a typo. The section 6.2.2.1 should have been section 6.2.1.1. This error will be corrected with the next OATS manual revision. Example 6.2.1.1a, merge segment. The freeway length for a merge segment is measured from the end of the painted gore or channelized line to 1,500 feet downstream. The red line in the figure below represents the typical merge freeway length of 1,500 feet. The length of first acceleration lane for merge segments is entered for one-lane on-ramps and is measured from the end of the painted gore or channelized line to the end of the taper. The pink line in the figure below represents the length of first acceleration lane. Note, determining the end of the acceleration lane taper does not need to be exact. The length of second acceleration lane for merge segments for a one-lane on-ramp is always 0 and only applies to a two-lane on-ramp. The length of first acceleration lane and length of second acceleration lane for merge segments are entered for two-lane on-ramps. Examples of two-lane on-ramps will be added in a future revision of the OATS manual. Example 6.2.1.1b, diverge segment. The freeway length for a diverge segment is measured from the painted gore to 1,500 feet upstream. The green line in the figure below represents the typical diverge freeway length of 1,500 feet. The length of first deceleration lane for diverge segments is entered for one-lane off-ramps and is measured from the beginning of the deceleration lane taper to the painted gore. The light green line in the figure below represents the length of first deceleration lane. The length of second deceleration lane for diverge segments for a one-lane off-ramp is always 0 and only applies to a two-lane off-ramp. The length of first deceleration lane and length of second deceleration lane for diverge segments are entered for two-lane off-ramps. Examples of two-lane off-ramps will be added in a future revision of the OATS manual. Example 6.2.1.1c, weaving segment. The length of a weave segment is measured from 500 feet upstream of the on-ramp painted gore to 500 feet downstream of the off-ramp painted gore. The black lines in the figure below represent the 500-foot upstream and downstream measurements, and the purple line represents the length. The weave short length is the distance between the endpoints of any barrier markings, typically the solid white lines, that prohibit or discourage lane changing. I'll show two scenarios for different configurations of the weave short length. The orange lines in the figures below represent the weave short length for two scenarios. Scenario number 1 shows an example where the difference between the weave length and weave short length is 1,000 feet because channelized lines do not exist downstream of the on-ramp painted gore and do not exist upstream of the off-ramp painted gore. Scenario number 2 shows an example where the difference between the weave length and weave short length is greater than 1,000 feet because channelized lines exist downstream of the on-ramp painted gore and or exist upstream of the off-ramp painted gore. Example 6.2.1.1d, overlap segment. The Highway Capacity Manual, Chapter 10, Freeway Facilities Core Methodology, Facility Segmentation Guidance, page 10-7 states, when the gore-to-gore length of two adjacent merge and diverge segments is less than 3,000 feet, but longer than 1,500 feet and no auxiliary lane exists, the section should be coded as a series of 3 segments, with the middle segment being defined as an overlap segment. In this case, the overlap segment length is the difference between 3,000 feet and the gore-to-gore spacing, and the merge and diverge segment lengths are equal to the gore-to-gore spacing minus 1,500 feet. The overlap length is determined by first delineating the 1,500-foot freeway length of the merge and diverge segments, then measuring the length of the overlapping lines. The red, green, and yellow lines in the figure below represent the merge freeway length, overlap length, and diverge freeway length, respectively. The merge freeway length, overlap length, and diverge freeway length in the figure below is 325 feet, 1,175 feet, and 325 feet, respectively. Note, the sum of the merge freeway length and overlap length must equal 1,500 feet. Likewise, the sum of the overlap length and the diverge freeway length must equal 1,500 feet. Example 6.2.1.1e, Basic Segment. Basic segments are measured between merge, diverge, and weaving segments. I'm going to take a break from the OATS manual revisions for a minute to discuss revisions made to the Location and Design Manual Volume 1, Section 400 regarding turn lane lengths. Location and Design Manual Figure 401-7 has 3 turn lane scenarios and was revised to remove the diverging taper from the turn lane length to match the Highway Capacity software's definition of storage length, which is the length of the turn lane that has full width and in which queued vehicles can be stored. This shows a left turn lane with no median, or where the median width is less than the left turn lane width. This shows a left turn lane where the median width is equal to or greater than the left turn lane width. Again, the diverging taper was removed from the turn lane length. This shows a right turn lane. Again, the diverging taper was removed from the turn lane length. L&D Figure 401-9, Basis for Computing Length of Turn Lanes. To be consistent, this figure was revised to remove the diverging taper from the turn lane length for Condition A. For Condition B, we removed the 50-foot diverging taper and rounded the length up to the nearest interval of 25 feet. Likewise, for Condition C, we removed the 50-foot diverging taper and rounded the length up to the nearest interval of 25 feet. L&D Figure 401-10, Queue Length at Intersections. Previous versions of the L&D manual showed the average number of vehicles per cycle from 1 to 25, then were listed in intervals of 5 between 25 and 60. The January 2025 revision of the L&D manual now includes values from 1 to 60 vehicles per cycle. The turn lane length example in the L&D manual was replaced and includes step-by-step instructions on how to determine the length of a left turn lane at a 2-lane approach of a signalized intersection. Section 6.2.2, Interrupted Flow Applications. Examples for turn lane length calculations for various lane configurations were added to Appendix F. These were provided based on the January 2025 revisions to Section 400 of the Location and Design Manual, which I will highlight now. Examples for turn lane length calculations for various lane configurations were added to Appendix F. These were provided based on the January 2025 revisions to Section 400 of the L&D Manual. The examples shown here are for 3-lane approaches. The examples shown here are for 4-lane approaches. Section 6.2.2.1, Signalized Intersections and Urban Streets. Text was revised stating this is the process of optimizing signalized intersections. When optimizing, make sure under the objective function you select overall delay or balanced delay. Section 7.2.3, Specifying the vehicle fleet mix. Additional guidance was added to Appendix G on applying the vehicle, fleet, mix, and transmodeler. Section 8.1.2 Graphical Presentation. Two examples of no build condition and build condition stick figure diagrams were added to Appendix H. Example 8.1.2a No build and build stick figures. The no build condition stick figure diagram for this example is from an interchange study and includes the following information: stick figure of study area, roadway names labeled, speed limits, lane assignments, which includes the number and types of lanes, intersection traffic control. This example shows one intersection operates under stop control and two intersections are signalized. Storage lengths of each lane, including left turn lanes, through lanes, and right turn lanes. The build condition stick figure diagram for this example includes the information described on the no build condition along with the following information. Changes between the no build and build condition are shown in red. The no build condition stick figure diagram for this example is from an interchange study and includes similar information shown in the previous example. It also includes the following additional information: intersection peak hour factor, freeway and ramp peak hour factor, intersection numbers, freeway segment numbers, and changes between the no build and build condition are shown in red. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching.